Hare Krishna everyone, so we are back with Civilization and Transcendence by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. This is Shravanam Diaries podcast. I'm your host Sulalita Devi Dasi and we are starting chapter 6, The Ultimate Knowledge. Pushta Krishna. Srila Prabhupada, this is the next question. Quote, in the Kali Yuga, the present age of quarrel and hypocrisy, bhakti, devotional service to the Lord, has been described as the most suitable and easiest of paths for God realization. Yet, how is it that Vedantic teachings, with their accent on jnana, cultivation of knowledge, are being given the pride of place by noted savants? Srila Prabhupada. The so-called Vedantists, the Māyāvādis, impersonalists, are bluffers. They do not know what Vedanta is, but people want to be bluffed, and the bluffers take advantage of it. The two words combined in the word Vedanta are Veda and Anta. Veda means knowledge, and Anta means goal or end. So Vedanta means the end of all knowledge, or Veda. Now, in the Bhagavad-gītā, Lord Krishna says, Vedaischa sarvairaham eva vedyah. Quote, by all the Vedas, I am to be known. So the whole Vedanta-sūtra is a description of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The first statement in the Vedanta-sūtra is Atato Brahma Jigyasa. Quote, now, having attained the human birth, one should inquire into Brahman, the absolute truth. Unquote. In a nutshell, Brahman is then described. Janmadyasya yata. Quote, Brahman is the origin of everything. Unquote. And in Bhagavad-gītā, Krishna says, Aham sarvasya prabhava. I am the origin of everything. In quotes. So again, the Vedanta-sūtra actually describes Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, because Srila Vyāsadeva knew that in this Kali Yuga people would not be able to study Vedanta-sūtra nicely on account of a lack of education, he personally wrote a commentary on the Vedanta-sūtra. That commentary is Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Bhashyam Brahma Sutranam. The Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is the real commentary on the Vedanta-sūtra, written by the author of the Vedanta-sūtra himself. The Vedanta-sūtra was written by Vyāsadeva, and under the instruction of Narada, his spiritual master, Vyāsadeva wrote a commentary on it. That is Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam begins with the same aphorism as the Vedanta-sūtra, Janmadyasya yataha, and continues, Anvayad itaratashyartheshvabhigyah svarat. So actually the Vedanta-sūtra is explained by the author in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. But the rascal Māyāvādis, without understanding Vedanta-sūtra and without reading the natural commentary, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, are posing themselves as Vedantists. That means they are misguiding people. And because people are not educated, they're accepting these rascals as Vedantists. Really, the Māyāvādī Vedantists, they are bluffers. They're not Vedantists. They do not know anything of the Vedanta-sūtra. That is the difficulty. Actually, what is stated in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, that is real Vedanta. So, if we take Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam as the real explanation of Vedanta-sūtra. Then we will understand Vedanta, the end of knowledge. And if we take shelter of the Māyāvādī Vedantists, the bluffers, then we cannot understand Vedanta. People do not know anything, and as a result they can be bluffed and cheated by anyone. Therefore, now they should learn from this Krishna consciousness movement what Vedanta is and what the explanation of Vedanta-sūtra is. Then they will be benefited. If we accept Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam as the real commentary on Vedanta-sūtra, then we'll find that in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam it is said, Kalirdosha nidhe rajan astihyeko mahan gunah. Quote, in this Kali Yuga, which is an ocean of faults, there is one benediction, one opportunity. Unquote. What is that? Kirtanad eva Krishnasya mukta sangah param rajet. Quote, one can become liberated simply by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. Unquote. This is real Vedanta. And actually this liberation by chanting Hare Krishna is happening. But people want to be misguided. And there are so many bluffers to misguide them. What can be done? Vyāsadeva has already given the perfect explanation of Vedanta-sūtra, the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So let people read the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Then they will understand what Vedanta is. Pushta Krishna. Then are the conclusion of the Vedanta-sūtra and the conclusion of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam one and the same? Bhakti. Srila Prabhupada. Yes. Find the verse. Kamasya nendriya pritir. Pushta Krishna. Kamasya nendriya pritir labho jiveta yavata jivasya tattva jigyasa nartho yascheha karmabhih. Quote, life's desires should never be directed toward sense gratification. One should desire only a healthy life, or self-preservation, since a human being is meant for inquiry about the absolute truth. Nothing else should be the goal of one's works. Unquote. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 1.2.10. Srila Prabhupada. Yes, this verse of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam proceeds directly from the Vedanta-sūtra. Athato Brahma Jigyasa. Now is the time to inquire about the absolute truth. Here the very same thing is explained. Don't be entrapped with these temporary bodily necessities of life, sense gratification. You must inquire about the absolute truth. Unquote. The next verse of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam explains, Vadanti tat tattva vidas tattvam yajñānam advayam. Quote, those who know the absolute truth describe him in this way. Unquote. Tattva means truth. The truth is explained by the tattva vid, one who knows the truth. How? Brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti shabdyate. The absolute truth is explained as Brahman, the all-pervading spiritual effulgence, as Paramatma, the localized supersoul, or as Bhagavan, the Supreme Lord. Understanding these is what Vedanta-sūtra means when it says, Athato Brahma Jigyasa. Quote, now, one should learn about the absolute truth. what Brahman is, what Paramatma is, what Bhagavan is. In this way, one should make advancement in his spiritual consciousness." Unquote. The Māyāvādī Vedantists follow the impersonal commentary of Shankaracharya, Shariraka Bhashya, but there are other commentaries on the Vedānta-sūtra. Besides the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, the natural commentary by the author of Vedānta-sūtra himself, there are Vedanta Bhashyas written by Vaishnava Acharyas such as Ramanujacharya, Madhavacharya, Vishnu Swami, and Baladeva Vidyabhushana. Unfortunately, the Māyāvādī Vedantists do not care to read these Vaishnava Vedanta Bhashyas. They simply read Shariraka Bhashya and call themselves Vedantists. Pushta Krishna: why do the Māyāvādī Vedantists read only one commentary? What is the reason for that? Srila Prabhupada: the reason is that they want to read something that will confirm their illusion that they are God. The Māyāvādī Vedantists cheat. Suppose I present some proposition. If it is a misconception, generally there are others also who can say something to clarify this misconception. For instance, in a court of law, there are two lawyers. One lawyer is speaking on one point of the law. The other lawyer is speaking on another point of the law. But if the judge listens to one side only, then how will he make a proper judgment? Similarly, the Vedantists are simply reading the Shariraka Bhashya. They are not reading other Bhashyas, such as the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, which is the natural commentary. And they are cheating people. That's all. Now, the Vedanta-sūtra says, Janmadyasya yataha, quote, the absolute truth is that from which everything emanates. But this needs some explanation. One may ask, is that absolute truth personal or impersonal? Therefore, in the Bhagavad-gītā, Krishna clearly says, Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattah sarvam pravartate. Quote, I am the origin of everything. Everything comes from me. Unquote. So why don't you, Māyāvādī Vedantists, take it? Why do you simply remain stuck at the point that the absolute truth is that from which everything emanates? When Krishna, the absolute truth, comes before you and says, I am the origin of everything, everything comes from me, why don't you accept Krishna as the absolute truth? Why do you take the impersonalist's view only, that the absolute truth has no form? Here is the absolute truth speaking, a person. Why don't you take it? Of course, if people want to be cheated, then who can stop them? In Bhagavad-gītā, Krishna also says, vedānta-kṛd eva cāham. Quote, I am the compiler of Vedanta. Unquote. Why do these rascals not consider who compiled Vedanta? Vyāsadeva is the incarnation of Krishna. He compiled Vedanta. Why do these rascals not consider the original Vedantist, Krishna? They approach a Māyāvādī instead. So how will they understand Vedanta? Suppose I have written a book. If you cannot understand something in it, then you should come directly to me for an explanation. That is sensible. Why go to a rascal who has nothing to do with my book? Similarly, some rascal Māyāvādī may claim, I am a Vedantist, But why should I go to a rascal instead of the real compiler of the Vedanta-sūtra? Those who approach the Māyāvādī Vedantists for knowledge are also rascals. They are willingly being cheated. Let the Māyāvādī Vedantists and their followers accept the conclusions of Bhagavad-gītā and Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Then they will understand Vedanta-sūtra. They will be real Vedantists. Otherwise, they will remain cheaters. So, if you go to a cheater, you'll be cheated, and that is your business. Pushta Krishna. Srila Prabhupada, are you saying that the Māyāvādis have no knowledge at all? Srila Prabhupada, once again, Vedanta means the ultimate knowledge. And what is that knowledge? Krishna explains in the Bhagavad-gītā 7.19, Bahunam janmanam ante gyanavan mam prapadyante. Quote, after many births, one who is actually in knowledge at last surrenders unto me. Unquote. So unless one surrenders to Krishna, there is no jnana, no knowledge. Therefore, the Māyāvādī Vedantists are all nonsense. They have no knowledge at all. The subject matter of the ultimate knowledge, Vedanta, is Krishna, God. So if one does not know who God is, who Krishna is, and if one does not surrender to Him, then where is the question of knowledge? But if a rascal claims that I am a man of knowledge, what can be done? In Bhagavad-gītā, Krishna goes on to explain, Vyāsadeva sarvam iti samahatma sudurlabha. Quote, when one understands that Vyāsadeva, Krishna, is everything, then that is knowledge. But such a Mahatma is very rare. Unquote. Before coming to this understanding, one has no knowledge. His so-called understanding is simply misunderstanding. Brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti shabdyate. One may begin with understanding impersonal Brahman by the speculative method. Then, in the secondary stage, one can understand the Paramatma, the Lord's localized aspect. And the final stage is to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Vedaischa sarvairaham eva vedyam. By all the Vedas, Krishna is to be known. That is the ultimate knowledge. But if you do not understand Krishna, then where is your knowledge? Halfway knowledge is not knowledge. It must be complete knowledge. That complete knowledge is possible, as it is said in the Bhagavad-gītā. Bahunam janmanam ante. After many births. Those who are striving to acquire knowledge after many births, when actually, by the grace of God and by the grace of a devotee, they come to knowledge, then such persons agree, O Vasudeva Sarvam Iti, Krishna is everything. Samahatma Sudurlabha, that Mahatma, that great soul is very rarely to be found. Durlabha means very rarely found. But the word used is Sudurlabha, very rarely to be found. So you cannot easily find such a Mahatma who clearly understands Krishna. Haribol. So we have completed this chapter, and tomorrow we shall continue with the next chapter entitled Getting Spiritual Guidance. Jai. So where are those Mahatmas from whom we can take guidance? Thank you so much for tuning in today. The link to this book is in the description, and we shall see you next time. Hare Krishna.